council come to attention. While we're waiting, two more council members for a quorum, since we do have a number of guests here and a number of council members who have presentations to make. Let me start and begin by recognizing Councilmember Labange and Councilmember Perry for a special presentation. And Councilmember Zine is going to join them.
Good morning, Madam President.
Buenos
Good
días,
morning to those in the
Presidencia.
chambers
Buenos
on
días
this
en la
Friday.
Cámara en este viernes.
This is a special
Esta es
presentation
una
to those people
presentación
you
especial para esa
probably don't
gente que
see,
probablemente no
but you
ven,
sure talk to
pero
when
de
you have a
veras hablan
problem.
cuando tienen un problema.
We're celebrating the
Estamos
public
celebrando
service
el servicio
representatives of the
público de
Los Angeles
representantes
Police
del
Department.
Departamento de
And I'm
Policía.
joined by my
Estoy
colleague
con
Jan
mis
Perry
colegas Jan
and
Perry
also
y
colleague
también colega
Dennis Zine, who
Dennis
kicks
Zine.
it off today, Friday, for
Hoy
next week.
viernes para la
Our
próxima
public
semana
service
el servicio
representatives work
público los representa su
in now
trabajo.
our police service, excuse me, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. The police service. We have our great police commissioner, Rose Ochi. Let's give Rose Ochi a big hand. Okay?
Un aplauso.
Peter DiCarlo, who's the police administrator for the Los Angeles Police Department. Peter, thank you for being here this morning. Also, Chuck Neely, thank you, Lieutenant, for here. All right. And also Captain Jim Tatro, who assisted in organizing the Police Service Representative Week annually. Captain Tatro, could you say a few words right now,
¿Puede
please?
decir algunas palabras?
Thank you very much, Councilman
Muchas gracias,
Labange and Perry,
Labange
for
and Perry, por
assisting us
asistirnos en
in acknowledging police service representatives this week. The Council's been very supportive of the efforts to put on a great lunch the past several years that recognizes the efforts of these great employees. What's so interesting about police service representatives is the wonderful backgrounds and life experiences that they bring to the job. While they have some very specific tasks, believe me, the police department has discovered that so many of them do so many things well, and we rely on them in so many different places. And I'd just like to share and congratulate them on their great work and acknowledging them today. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Tatro, for the first of three presentations. Please welcome council member of this district here at City Hall, Jan Perry.
Thank you very much, Mr. Labange, and I'm happy to join you and these fine men and women to recognize their contributions during National Dispatchers Week. I have the pleasure of recognizing Freddie Oliver. Freddie will be celebrating her 30th year working with the City of Los Angeles. Freddie, why don't you step up here? She began her career as a clerk typist, then was promoted to senior clerk typist. She then accepted the position of police service representatives in 1981 and is currently a PSR 3. She readily adapted to the fast-paced environment of the Communications Division Central Dispatch Center. What is remarkable about Freddie is that she always gives 100% to her job. Her yearly ratings reflect the qualities that all employees should embody: professional demeanor, courteous attitude, and a commitment to leadership. As a further testament to her dedication, Freddie has received numerous commendations for her contribution and professionalism. And she participated in the United Way campaign in the Southwest Division in 1987 and worked on recovering on behalf of the city for the 1994 earthquake. Her willingness to share her expertise with her co-workers is exemplary. Not only is she knowledgeable about city issues and city departments, she's a team player and goes out of her way to help her co-workers. In fact, she has taken the initiative to become involved in the PSR union by becoming a union shop steward. It is no surprise that Freddie Oliver was selected by her co-workers as the Communications Division National Dispatchers Week Most Valuable PSR for Day Watch. And I'm honored to commend her for her dedicated service to the men and women who live, work, and visit the city of Los Angeles. Thank you very much, Freddie, and congratulations.
I'm honored to be selected by my peers. Thank you.
Gracias.
Okay.
It's my honor to bring forward Carol Schott.
Carol Schott.
Carol, there you are. You're tall. How could I miss you in the crowd there? I want to comment on the PSRs that for many years they did the professional job in less than desirable conditions. If any of you have ever visited the communication center that was 4 stories below ground level, It was referred to as a dungeon by many people. There was no light. It was built at a time in history that it was appropriate, but it wasn't conducive to a real happy environment. And these folks that we're recognizing and honoring endured that challenge of living 4 stories below ground level on a daily basis in a real sad environment. Well, we've changed that. They now have above-ground facilities, state-of-the-art, and I visited that recently across the street, and they have another one that's been opened soon in the San Fernando Valley. But we're recognizing people who have really gone through the worst of times as far as working conditions in a facility that really wasn't conducive to a happy environment, and they, very dedicated members of the City of Los Angeles family and the Los Angeles Police Department family that were there handling those calls for service, millions of calls from the people of Los Angeles and dispatching units throughout the City of Los Angeles, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So it's a real pleasure to honor not only Carol, the other folks that are here representing the Communications Division personnel, PSRs, Police Service Representatives, in that day activity they do for the people of Los Angeles and for the members of the Los Angeles Police Department. And it's my honor for Carol to receive the Senior Police Service Representative Resolution. Carol's been cited for her professionalism, supportiveness. Employees agree that she is a stellar supervisor and supreme leader, and that is wonderful to hear from your peers. She began her career with the police department as a police service representative in 1988, after working dispatch for the Alhambra Police Department. Soon appointed to her new position, a one-on-one instructor, while becoming an involved member of Communications Division, seeking assignments in various areas, such as Area Liaison, Bureau Communications Coordinator, Training Unit, Simulator Instructor, and in-house counselor and department peer counselor. And it's real important, those peer counselor programs that the police department sponsors. Her most distinguished award was the Police Meritorious Unit Citation received as a member of the Communications Division Training Unit in 1995. Carol was appointed as a supervisor in February '96. She worked every facet of Communications Division, being most effective as a training coordinator, monitoring and assessing new employees. Assigned as the Area Command Council Coordinator, which is a major position in Communications Division, overseeing the temporary assignment of 36 employees to area stations, still found time to remain involved in Communications Division activities and help coordinate the Adopt a Family program in 1999. A devoted member of the church and participates in the choir with her family. She lives in Chino Hills and enjoys traveling, marathon walking, and hiking. Police Service Representative Carol Schott has been selected as the most valuable supervisor for National Dispatchers Week 2003. Congratulations, and I know that many of your colleagues are going to be at that famous event that's going to take place this weekend, Baker to Vegas. And let's hear it for all the communications personnel that are going to be there, and good luck to you and your team members. Carol, congratulations to you. The microphone is yours. You're not used to staying away from microphones, so here you go.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to say that I'm standing in front of a lot of my coworkers that work very hard, and they're some of the hardest working and highly educated people in the City of Los Angeles. And thank you very much for this honor.
I would like to ask at this time all those great special representatives to stand and be recognized by the full council. We spoke about you a few times. Please stand. PSR, stand up now. Give them a big hand. Buddy Romero is very special because he came to Los Angeles in the early 90s and has worked his whole career in Communications Division and has risen into the ranks of an instructor in that division, which is very important to have someone who has that ability to help others, the new employees that we have in working in communication. He is well liked by his colleagues and is known as the true team player of understanding the commitment that must be made in this job, this role, this very vital role for the Los Angeles Police Department. He has been honored in the past of Employee of the Quarter. He lives in Chino Hills, has a wonderful family with 3 children, and he immigrated from the Philippines. So I say, Hamagahumaga, Hapun. Okay. But I want to salute you in front of everyone here today for your special work, buddy, as being named in this week the National Dispatchers Week, the most valuable public service representative of 2003. Congratulations on a job very well done.
I would like to say thank you for this award and thank you for my other coworkers for participating.
Lieutenant?
These four individuals are but a small part of Communications Division. Like they said earlier, that they are 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. We have moved to our new communications facility, and we welcome the community to stop by next Wednesday, April 16th. We will be having open house, so you can see your brand-new 911 center that you built. Also, we'd like to say that we have the Valley Communications Center opening fairly soon. And if anybody in the community that particularly lives in the San Fernando Valley would like to be a police service representative, check on our website, check on the department's website and the city's website. We can sure use Valley residents to work in the Valley Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
I like that, Lieutenant. And finally, Commissioner Rose Ochi for the Los Angeles Police Commission.
Good morning. I'm pleased to, on behalf of the Police Commission, join in saluting our PSRs. You know, every day they work and toil behind the scenes, and it's wonderful that this morning that we can salute them here publicly. As you can well imagine, the job is very stressful, yet very rewarding. You know, my phone's ringing. Excuse me. Let me just say that we're so happy that they're in their new facilities. I know that has been a very important morale booster. And really showing appreciation to their work and their value. I think that we need to begin exploring ways of creating career ladders so that we can stem the attrition. All right, let me close by again saying thank you so much.
Madam President. Remember next Wednesday, open house at the new Los Angeles Police Communications Center, 100 North Los Angeles Street. Especially all city staff should find their way over there, and we invite the public. Thank you, Lieutenant. Thank you, members of council.
Thank you, Councilmember Labange, and a special thank you to all the PSRs who came today to honor your peers, but we are honoring you this one day for all the days that you work for us. Let me recognize at this time Councilmember Reyes.
If I continue handing around their jobs. All right. I think the security guard. Good morning. I'd like to ask my colleagues, Councilman Pacheco and Councilman Garcetti, would like to join me, please.
Excuse us for that interruption.
Okay, we have Mr. Hurtado in the house. Okay. Is Nick in the show? I don't think so. He's back there.
He's coming up through the crowd.
Okay. Mr. Pacheco is making his way up.
Yes.
He's emerging.
Está llegando.
Members of the council,
Miembros del Concilio,
none of us will ever forget
nosotros vamos a
that
olvidar
fateful day a little more than 2
hace
months
más de
ago,
2 meses,
when on February
cuando en
1st,
febrero primero,
our nation
nuestra
suffered one of its
nación
great
sufrió una de
losses.
las grandes pérdidas.
That day, of course,
Ese
was the
día
day when
fue el
7
día que
astronauts,
7 astronautas,
6 Americans,
6 americanos
and an Israeli
y un
died
israelí
aboard
murieron
the space shuttle
arriba del
Columbia.
Super Shuttle Columbia.
Given the circumstances of our country
dándole
at that
a
time,
nuestro país en aquel tiempo.
I think that we as a
Yo creo
nation
que nosotros como
all
nación
had a profound
todos
sense of
teníamos un
loss.
sentido de pérdida.
And as many of you know,
Como
when
ustedes
people suffer
saben,
loss
cuando la
such as
gente
this,
sufre como
a
esta,
sense of
un
helplessness
sentido de-
can overtake us. While we mourned as a country, as individuals, many of us felt a need to do something to help.
Necesitamos hacer algo para que hacer.
Unfortunately, all we could do at that time was to send our condolences and perhaps say a prayer in honor of our fallen heroes. But others, such as the young people standing here beside me, were able to do much more.
Pudieron hacer más.
Members, this group here are members of the Aztec Fire Crew and Highlanders of South Los Angeles. This group of young people were called upon to assist in the search for debris from the fallen space shuttle. For 18 days, this group was sent to Corsica, Texas, where they were housed in what can be considered Spartan-like conditions, but they did it out of a sense of loyalty, out of a sense of pride, and out of a sense of duty. Much of their work was based on gridding the crash site area. It was a joint effort with FEMA, NASA, and the U.S. Forest Service, which recommended the crews. And you should know that in all there were a total of 34 young people, 17 from the Aztecas and 17 others from the Highlanders of South Los Angeles. There were 34 young people who, in my mind, were representing us, the city of Los Angeles. They were part of a larger nationwide workforce that did their share in covering an area of hundreds, if not thousands of square miles. I believe many of us, myself included, can take pride in knowing that our city, in a very significant way, and through this group, managed to do our part in helping our nation to heal from this horrible tragedy. And for that, I believe that these young people deserve an earnest round of applause. Members, as I mentioned before, there were 34 people in all who went to Texas, and while we have certificates for each one of them, we'll only be presenting a few here. But before we do that, I'd like to give my colleague, Councilman Pacheco, the opportunity to share his thoughts.
Madam President, colleagues, I just simply wanted to join in on recognizing these young individuals, young men and women who worked so hard to find the remains of those individuals who were struck by tragedy on February 1st in the space shuttle incident. From my standpoint, we have been supporting these type of projects primarily because we understand in the inner city that nothing provides an alternative for our youth, for our young men and women, better than a job and a career and something where they can contribute back to their communities, and not only their communities, but communities of the world. And here they went to Texas to help out and find the remains of those fallen individuals from that tragedy. So from my viewpoint, they deserve all the recognition that we can provide them here today. But not only that, continued support, and for that I ask all of you to remember that the Highlanders from South Los Angeles, the Azteca Fire Crew from the northeast, east side, they're sort of all over now. We really appreciate the fact that they're growing and excelling in their program. It should be on your minds now and forever. There's two groups that need our continued support here in the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Pacheco. And now my colleagues will join me. We would like to present these certificates to the people who made it possible for this group to go in the first place. I'd like to start with Mr. Don Fezzer, who is the Chief of Fire Aviation of the Angeles National Forest, who I am told recommended these crews to be part of this mission. Mr. Fezzer, we would like to provide the certificate to you. I'd like to share a few words with us.
Yes, I'd like to thank the council for taking the time today to recognize the accomplishments of the Aztecas and the Highlanders. As the councilman mentioned, these two firefighting teams were among the first firefighters to be dispatched to the recovery efforts. They did an outstanding job of their assignment period and are looking forward to other challenges in the future. And I'd like to thank you once again.
Thank you for your great support. Next, I'd like to call up Enrique Hurtado, Executive Director of the Aztec Fire Group. Share a few thoughts with us.
Well, once again, I would like to thank the council for giving us the opportunity and also recognizing our program. And also the Highlanders. This year, I know that we made a marriage with the Highlander program, and pretty much everything that we do is going to be collaboratively with them. So hopefully you guys get ready to see us more often right here at City Hall. And we're asking also for support from the South Central area for them for more continuing education, so we could get all these guys and females actually get them out there to the challenging positions that the city is offering and the Forest Service is offering for us. So thank you again, and I'm available, and Ruben, Luis, also from the Highlanders, so pretty much it's a wonderful thing to be able to go to the Colombia disaster assignment, and all the guys. I would like to thank the council for recognizing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Enrique. Yes. Next, I'd like to call up Mr. Ruben Lewis from the South Los Angeles Highlanders. Mr. Lewis?
Yes, I would like to thank the council for the opportunity of this certificate, and we really greatly appreciate it. And we, for the first year, as Enrique mentioned, we have a marriage with the two programs, and we believe that it's going to really extend and go in a positive direction with our communities. And we would like to ask for continuous support, and we were amongst the first crews dispatched to Colombia, and it was a great opportunity for us to go there and share what the nation could not do as far as support and recovery efforts. And with the two crews together, I believe we did our part and made a great impact. Thank you.
Yes, we'd like to ask Gladys Espinosa to come to the mic.
Hello. First of all, I want to say thank you for the award. It really means a lot. I know it means a lot to the crew members. And this is my second season with the Aztecs. I've enjoyed every bit of it. I mean, I've learned a lot. They showed me a lot. And our last assignment was to go to Texas for 3 weeks, 21 days. And the experience was really good. I never thought I'd fly to Texas. I've never been to Texas. And it was a really great experience, especially the job we had to do. I mean, that really never happened. And for us to do that, I mean, it's really special. I don't know exactly what else to say. That's it. Oh, I'm going to introduce Danny as another Aztec member.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to thank the council for giving us the opportunity to be here. I just wanted to give you the opportunity, for sponsoring us and letting us giving us the opportunity to be where we're at. And pretty much, thank you guys.
Council members, when we look at opportunities for our young people, there aren't too many options. If it wasn't for the support the city provides to the Aztec Fire Crew and the Highland Crew from South Los Angeles, their opportunities would be limited. So for that, I just feel that we should be cognizant of this need, and your continuous support of efforts like this does make a difference to the lives of many young people, and I think they're here just to give you their heartfelt thanks. So thank you very much.
Councilmember Levon.
Thank you very much. I just want to congratulate all of you and thank Councilman Pacheco Reyes for bringing you in. I see the group often on Saturdays in Griffith Park. Any guys in Griffith Park, guys? They all come up to Griffith Park, they park on the Observatory Road, and then they race up to Mount Hollywood. So it's good to see you down here being honored. I also want to encourage you to visit 700 East Temple Street, Los Angeles City Office of Personnel, because we do hire firefighters and police officers and other roles that you could seek for employment. A very great opportunity, and I love your commitment to community and your commitment to the National Forest Service. You know, the Angeles National Forest is the largest national forest and most used in the country, so we're very proud of all of you. Thank you very much for what you do.
Councilmember Reyes.
Council President signed. The certificates are signed by Mayor Hahn. Councilor Garcetti was not doing this with us today, so thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much, and congratulations. Councilmember Miskowski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today seems to be our acknowledging of Public Safety Day. Standing next to me is a man who really needs no introduction to this council, and I like to call him the Phoenix because he keeps rising again and again, coming back to the city and serving the city in the public safety arena. Joe Gunn has spent really more than 40 years serving the city in a remarkably diverse and extensive career, starting back when he joined LA Police Department in 1959, promoted quickly to sergeant, to lieutenant, to captain, and in 1973 he actually became the youngest commander in the department's history. And in that capacity, he served here as the department liaison to the police department and formed an awful lot of very, very strong relationships with members of the council as well as with the press. He actually has had a stellar career in the LAPD, including being known in his early days as the department's Serpico, because he had the courage to stand up as a young patrol officer when his senior partner was suggesting that he do something that Joe knew was not legal. Joe did what he should have done. He took it to the department, he went to then Chief Parker, told him about this, and was involved in helping the department uncover some officers who were not doing what they should have done, and resulted in both some officers going to prison and the demise of the 5 largest bookmaking agencies in the city. He also is very well known because as a sergeant, he was actually the receiver of 37 gunshot wounds. And he's standing here today, having gotten through that. For those of you who were able to go to his retirement party and see the newspaper photo of Joe being carried in the stretcher after those wounds were received, he was a typical Joe. In the picture, gunshot wounds and a cigarette in his hand on the stretcher. He then discovered another talent. He could write, and he started writing as a police in the police department for many of our police shows that were very much based on police activity in Los Angeles. He co-created a show called Del Vecchio, and then actually began a very, very long relationship with Universal as a writer, producer, and involving himself in that work, including such shows as Emergency, Adam 12, Chips, Kojak, and Hill Street Blues. He brought a lot of his own personal experience to those shows, which I think they were, why they were as successful as they were, and had as high an interest, as we all know. He had retired from the department in actually 1979, and we did say goodbye to him then. But he was brought back after his stint as a producer and writer, because the talent was recognized by then Mayor Reardon, who needed a deputy mayor in charge of public safety. And he brought Joe back to do that work. And then Joe was hired away from the mayor's administration by the police commission itself when the voters of the city had established a very, very new and important role at the police commission to establish its own independence, and that was the position of executive director. So he had his third incarnation with Los Angeles Police Department serving the community, and that's what he's finally retiring from today. As I say, he has been unbelievable in his service to this city and his service to that department that he loves, and his service to the public, who presenting the best face of Los Angeles Police Department, Los Angeles Police Commission, and Los Angeles Public Safety Service to the city. We wish him now farewell. He has, as we all know, been involved even as he goes out in one more controversy, one more policy discussion here on the burglar alarm, and again, trying to establish the role of the police commission as the preeminent policy decider for public safety. He is going to retire, although I don't know that we can believe him, because he's done it before and he's come back before. All I can say is, though, that we are wishing him well as he retires today. We also will welcome him back if we find another spot, another incarnation for Joe Guy. Might not be unanimous, but Joe, congratulations.
Councilmember Weiss.
Joe, in a few moments, you're going to get to do your rebuttal, and you can say, "I'll be back." Let us know. But I want to congratulate you on the last several years. I mean, there has been of all the important things that have been transforming in the city over the past several years. One of the most important has been the transformation into true civilian control of the police department. Not just de jure, but de facto. And you've been at the forefront of that. And it's so extraordinarily important for the future of this city that people have confidence in the police department and that they have confidence that civilians in Los Angeles, selected by the mayor, volunteers, citizens, control the police department and make the ultimate decisions. That sometimes, as you know better than anybody else in Los Angeles, can be excruciating, can be difficult, can be painful, but can be the most important decisions that we make. You have always been there at the forefront of this new pattern, this new wave of civilian control, and we all owe you a tremendous debt of gratitude for your service. So thank you, Joe, and I wish you the best. And I think I share Ms. Michalski's view that we haven't seen the last of your impact on important city matters here in this chamber. Thank you, Joe.
Councilmember Lamont.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And I want to congratulate you, Joe, on your many, many years. First, learned of you when I started here 28 years ago. You were still working in West Bureau as a commander, and then we got to work close together when you were deputy mayor in charge of public safety for Mayor Reardon, helped craft a lot of things that helped the Los Angeles Police Department. But then in your role as the executive director of the Police Commission, you've done what you've always felt is right, and that's the important thing when you hire someone to do that. I just want to congratulate you. I'm personally proud of Joe because along with many other people in Memphis, this is kind of why I talk about it. Joe and I went to the same high school, and John Marshall High, and it's important to know that because when we contribute from our neighborhoods, as we just recognize those young young men from their firefighting efforts for the Forest Service. When we contribute from our neighborhoods, Joe came from a neighborhood, he migrated from New York. You can't immigrate from New York, right, Joe? You migrated from New York, but came to Hollywood, and then ended up at John Marshall High, and then you contributed all the way through as a public servant. I'm just proud of you as a barrister from John Marshall High and a Los Angeles City Council member. Congratulations, Joe Gunn. And I want you, Jack Weiss and City, I want you to retire, Joe, and not come back, because I want you to enjoy life. I think the beautiful thing is if you're able to transform and enjoy that retirement age. Because I can only think of the great late Jess Brewer, who worked so hard for the Los Angeles Police Department after being a Chicago police officer, and then was a great police commissioner. Yesterday they had the West Point graduation leadership training at the Academy, which Jess Brewer started for the LAPD. I just want you to have a full retirement and enjoy whatever you and your lovely wife and granddaughter and wife and everybody want to do. Congratulations, Joe Gunn.
I just want to offer my personal congratulations to you, Joe. I know we've spent many years together in the LAPD, my years with the PPO, you with the commission, so congratulations and best wishes to you. But knowing your reputation, like Arnold Schwarzenegger says, you'll be back. Congratulations. Now we'll hear from Joe Gunn.
Thank you, Councilman Smith-Zakowski. May I bring up Commissioner Ochi with me, please? I want to thank the council for this honor, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to once more working with all of you. You don't, as time goes by, you don't miss the job as much as you miss the people. And this has been a great bunch of people to work with. We certainly had our differences, and I like to think that the differences accentuate the fact that I was doing my job and you were doing yours. And that's what the city government is all about. And I'm very proud of the city, and I'm especially proud of this police department. I'd like to introduce, if I may, my staff who have given me the honor of appearing today. If they would please stand up. I've been fortunate to have the best staff that I could assemble. They're really great and supportive, and they, under great workload, they've done a great job. You know it's time to retire when you walk down the street and pull your hamstring muscles. So when the body parts start to go, they start to tell you, go out and enjoy life. And Tom, I'm going to take your advice. I'm going to be in Maui in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to be playing golf, hopefully. But I will always have a dear spot in my heart. I will miss my Thursday night bowling nights with Ron Deaton, where we used to get together and have a beer. And I will miss all of that. And I will miss all of you. And thank you very much for once more giving me the opportunity to serve this city and to serve this great police department. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Perry. Councilmember Perry, presentation.
Thank you very much, Council President. I can hardly say it, Zine. I'm happy to present to you some very special students from the 9th Council District, the Los Angeles Academy. It's a great school, and it calls the 9th District its home. Studies show that children who read 1 million words during the course of a school year improve in reading comprehension, vocabulary, and spelling. As part of LA Academy's participation in America's Choice School Reform, the students at the Los Angeles Academy are expected to read at least 1 million words in a variety of genres each year. These C-Track students have already completed their 1 million words and are still going strong. I think we should give them a hand. Now, I'm just going to give you a little sample. It's just amazing. We've got Pedro Gonzalez, Natalie Moreno, Sandra Aguirre, Jessica Vasquez, Danilo Gonzalez, Cesar Bautista, Evelyn Alas, Evelyn Adame, Jose Gaspar, Karina Palacios, Dominisha Lescalle, Jessica Lopez, Ariana Herrera, Yvette Gudino, Vanessa Almate, Vanessa Salguero, I'm repeating that, Felipe Ochoa, Julio Morales, and Olivia Adame and Natalie Ortega. These kids have already read over 1 million words. They're here with their teachers, Salisbury, Kosaka, Ziegler, Irwin, Deal. I think I got them all, right? Did I get everybody? Okay, great. I want to commend these students for taking the initiative and following their teachers' instructions to achieve such a great accomplishment. This is what we work hard for every single day. I know this is just the beginning, but they are making such great headway towards becoming strong community leaders. And I want to say we appreciate what you do. God bless all of you.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman Perry, for this recognition. We are very proud of our students and our staff, and I know that these are the future leaders of this great city. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Councilmember Perry, did you have another presentation?
I'll see you in the back. Okay, Richard Lee, why don't you join me up here? Great. Okay, great. I'm here with Richard Lee, who is the Public Information Officer for the Department of Public Works. By the way, Janice Hahn, thank you for letting me do this. I appreciate it. I'll pay you back in ways I'm yet to be anticipated. Yes. Okay, and then why don't we have the folks come up for the contest? Come on up here and stand with me. We're here today to celebrate the mascot slogan contest as folks come up here to join me. This was developed by the Department of Public Works to allow children in our communities to create slogans and mascots and logos for our public outreach programs. In January and February, 3,000 young people in grades 3 to 5 were eligible to enter this contest. The contest was held at 9 schools that participated in our Blue Bin Recycling pilot around the city. Hundreds of fantastic entries were received in February. A selection team from the Bureau of Sanitation's Solid Resources Program and Department of Public Works Public Affairs Office had the difficult task of selecting a grand prize, first prize, and second prize winner in each category. The winning mascots and slogans were used in many ways, including a 3-year educational campaign for children in Los Angeles on reducing and recycling waste. The winning entries will appear on truck signs, city publications, in person at events, and possibly, if there's any left, whatever billboards might be left in the city. The winners are, and this includes the second place runner-up, Mario Perez, a 5th grade student at Pinewood Elementary School, for his mascot, the Recycling Rabbit. Mario, come on up here and say hello.
Hello.
And Juliana Lefko, a 4th grade student at Van Gogh Elementary School, for her slogan, "Recycle, it's for you." Juliana? Okay, where's Juliana? All right, Juliana. Say hello, Juliana. Hello. Each second prize winner will receive a family 4-pack of tickets to Disneyland, the happiest place on earth. First place runners-up each receives a mountain bike. That's a pretty good present, don't you think? I think that's pretty neat, huh? All right. Michael Vargas, a 5th grader at Fenton Charter Elementary School, for his mascot, the Blue Bin Crusader. Where are you, Michael? Come on up. And Rebecca Rasheen, a 4th grade student at Balboa Gifted Magnet School, for the slogan, LA wins when you use the right bins. Where are you? Come on up here. Dean Hutkin, come on up here, Dean, a 3rd grade student. At Balboa Gifted Magnet School for his winning mascot, the recycling robot.
Hello.
Jose Avila, a 4th grader at Nevin Avenue Elementary School, for the best slogan, and I like this one because it's one I would use. Don't just stand there, recycle something. The grand prize winners each will receive a mountain bike, plus their entire class gets a Disneyland trip. Okay, you guys are going to be really popular now. It's kids like this who have helped the city recycle 60% of its waste in the year 2000 and will help us achieve 70% by 2020. Each week, schools in the Blue Bin Pilot Program recycle over 2,500 pounds of mixed paper through our program, and that is only 9 schools. Making sure that schools recycle mixed paper teaches kids good habits, which they can take home and teach everyone else in their family. Children can help their parents separate recyclables from trash and take them out to the Blue Bin. Or, if they live in an apartment, they can save newspaper and beverage containers to redeem at their nearest recycling center. Tell your friends and tell your family it's good for the earth. And congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Is
Mario here?
Mario.
Mario. Mario, I'm Councilmember Wendy Gruhl, and you go to a school in my district. So I wanted to be here today. You're at Pinewood Avenue Elementary School, and he was one of the second prize winners and had this wonderful, if you haven't seen it, we'll show it here on TV so everyone can see it, Mario. And just want to thank you and your teacher, because we know, and the parents who help instill in our kids the importance of recycling. It's most important for us to start at this age. And many times we learn from our children, though, who come home and tell us and remind us that we need to recycle. So I just wanted to congratulate you, Mario, as one of my students in my district, and all of you who are winners today. Congratulations. And we could use one of these mountain bikes, I think, Jan. So, but anyways, congratulations to all of you. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Councilmember Perry. And congratulations to the students and your parents as well for the participation. Chair would now like to recognize Councilmember Hahn. And then after the council member's presentation, we will call the roll, and there is a commission appointment that I would like to take out of order, so that will be our next order of business. Why don't you call the roll? We're waiting for Ms. Hahn.
Brinson, Galenter, Garcetti, Gruhl, Hahn, Holden, Labange, Misikowski, Pacheco, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Weiss, Sain Padilla, 11 members present, a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you, and we are in session. Councilmember Hahn.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair and colleagues. Today I'm very pleased to be a part of the 100th anniversary of San Pedro High School, which will be celebrated in a big way tomorrow. And I have with me today our current principal, Steve Walters, as well as members of the Centennial Celebration Committee who have spent a long time putting together what I'm sure will be the most amazing celebration, not only that San Pedro has seen, but probably the city has seen in terms of an anniversary of a high school. Few facts for everyone. San Pedro High School opened its doors in 1903 to accommodate what was then only 3,000 residents in the city of San Pedro. That at that time were sending their children to attend school in Long Beach and other parts of Los Angeles via train. We used to have a train that went from San Pedro to Long Beach. We should bring that back. The San Pedro High School originally operated out of 2 rooms on the top floor of the elementary school, 15th Street Elementary School, and Maud Wayne Peterson was the first graduate from San Pedro High School in 1904. She was the only member of her graduating class, so I'm sure she got all the honors that were bestowed upon the seniors. In the summer of 1909, San Pedro High School became an accredited high school and was consolidated into the City of Los Angeles School District. That was the same year that San Pedro became a part of the City of Los Angeles as well. The school chose its motto, wisdom, integrity, and self-respect, in 1923. In the spring of 1936, construction of the new campus began on Alma and 15th Street, where it stands today. In the fall of 1948, night football made its debut on a trial basis. And I'm happy to say that San Pedro high school football teams have gone on to win many football championships, 4 just in the last decade. And I'm sure you all know that I brought down to the City Council to honor many teams from San Pedro High School sports programs, many of the women teams as well. A marine science magnet was added to San Pedro High School in 1982, and one of the things we're all really proud of is a police academy billed as a school within a school, opened at San Pedro High School for kids interested in pursuing law enforcement careers. And hopefully those young people will go on to be our newest officers in the Los Angeles Police Department. We're on a recruiting effort here in the city. We want to get more officers, and it'd be great if they came from San Pedro High School. In October of 2000, the San Pedro Pirate fans took their seats at the first game that was played in the brand new state-of-the-art stadium that Councilman Rudy Sabornas actually helped to put the financing together for. Some of the interesting graduates, alumni from San Pedro High School. In 1967, Anna Lee Tingle graduated and was voted by her fellow students as the most likely to succeed. She would succeed and travel farther than any other graduate of San Pedro High School. After graduating from UCLA, Dr. Anna Fisher would become the first mom in space aboard the Space Shuttle Discovery on November 8, 1984. That's a great story. Couple of graduates have become professional baseball players, Gary Maddox and Alan Ashby. Several people who graduated from San Pedro High School became elected officials. Former Assembly Member Vincent Thomas, who of course was responsible for the bridge that spans between San Pedro and Long Beach. Before him, we all would take a ferry, a car ferry across the channel. And of course, LA Council Member Rudy Sabornas graduated from San Pedro High School, and Mike Lansing was a graduate who has now gone on to become the representative on the LA Unified School District. Some of the business leaders who attended and graduated from San Pedro High School, the Trainee family, which operates several restaurants, trainees in Long Beach, trainees in San Pedro, the Sardisco family, owners of Dominic's, which owns and operates great restaurants, one in San Pedro, one in Carson. I was just there last night with my family. Best pizza anywhere. The Papadakis family, of course, we honored John down here most recently with the 30th anniversary of the Papadakis restaurant, which people worldwide know about and love. And the Perkoff family, which were the owners of Ante's restaurant, which again is a historic landmark that many people know and love. Other outstanding community leaders, the Demancich family, the Bobbage family, and I love mentioning John Olguin, who many people either know or don't know, was the reason that the Cabrillo Aquarium was founded and started in the harbor area. As Tom LaBonge so readily reminds us, where you go to high school matters, and it really determines who you are and who you become. Tom LaBonge asks everybody, wherever they are, where they went to high school, because he knows that tells them a lot about who they are and what they become. So this is a good reason to honor San Pedro High School today. We are a special community in San Pedro, and this school has been a part of this community for so long, and has so many wonderful contributions to our community. I am very pleased to honor those of you who are here today. I've got a special presentation for the president, for the principal and the committee members, but I really do want to congratulate you on 100 years of a successful institution and graduating people who have gone on to frankly change lives, change history, and that is something you can all be extremely proud of. Tomorrow night will be an incredible bash. I'm nervous about one thing. The only thing I wanted to do to help you celebrate was to be responsible for funding the giant fireworks program at the end of the celebration. The weather report says it's going to rain. Okay, that's laughable. Okay, all right. So hereby we declare the San Pedro High School's 100th anniversary, and we declare no rain till after midnight tomorrow night. So on behalf of the entire City Council of Los Angeles, we want to present you this resolution commemorating the anniversary, and really thank you for all the contributions that you and the graduates.
And the chair would also like to recognize Councilmember LaBonge.
Thank you very much, and Janice, you're going to get that nice picture there, but what wonderful words you spoke of a great high school. And I just want to salute you. What I do mean when we ask about high schools where you're from, it tells you that everyone from San Pedro is usually a very strong in character, dedicated, hardworking person. Many of our city families, firefighters and police officers come from San Pedro. And I just think, and our very own chief of staff from, though not San Pedro High School, but the McCosker brothers and everybody down there. And Jim Hahn, the mayor, lives in San Pedro, and all that together, the importance of your community. And I'm very proud to see you honored them for 100 years, because not many high schools in Los Angeles are 100 years old. You're maybe one of the, I know Loyola is the oldest school, but I'm just proud of that, Janice, that you honor them today, and all the graduates and the students that are there now. It's very special, and go San Pedro. I always say, too, Ed Reyes, if it wasn't for the Los Angeles River, where the 44 Los Pobladores walked 9 miles from Mission San Gabriel, we would have ended up in San Pedro, and that's where it would have been the city of San Pedro, not the city of Los Angeles. But that's another story. Okay.
We kind of feel that way anyway. Let me give these certificates of appreciation before I let Steve say a few words to some of the committee members that are here today. Terry Sardisco. Chris Lusick. Larry Robertson. Yes. And Barbara Trainey.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hahn, once again for honoring San Pedro High School and the entire community of San Pedro and the LA City Council. On behalf of the Reunion Committee, whose chairperson is standing next to me, Terry Sardisco, on behalf of the 3,400 proud students that are attending, and especially on behalf of the tens of thousands, that's right, tens of thousands of alumni, thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Hahn. I'm going to ask the clerk to recess our current agenda and call the roll for the special agenda, and then I will recognize Mr. LaBonge for an introduction.
Brinson, Galenter, Garcetti, Gruel, Hahn, Holden, LaBonge, Misakowski, Pacheco, Parks, Perry, Reyes, Weiss, Sain, Padilla, 11 members present for the special meeting.
All right, and let me recognize Mr. LaBonge for an introduction.
Of all the honors that were given today, we have the honor of having some very special guests in here from the County of Los Angeles. Please rise and welcome the grand jury of the County of Los Angeles. They serve for the county for over a year, and we really want to thank you for your extra dedicated service to the people, not just in the city, but the whole county. Thank you very much.
Thank you to members of the grand jury and Mr. Labange for the introduction. Madam Clerk, why don't we take the item 2 on this, item 2 on the special agenda?
Item number 2 is a confirmation of Mr. Leland Wong to the Board of Water and Power Commissioners, and this is an item for which public hearing has not been held. CE&R Committee waived consideration.
All right, if we can ask Mr. Wong to come forward. Members, we have this appointment of Mr. Wong to the Board of Water and Power Commissioners. We have no one in the audience who would like to speak, so let me close the public hearing and recognize Councilmember Reyes.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Wong for his many years of dedication and service to the city. It's been an opportunity for me to work with him as a staff person, as a council member, and our ability to understand our diversity in our city is so important, and that perspective that talks about an even playing field for everyone is so crucial. I just want to thank you for being there, looking forward as we progress in our policies as the issue of water is so important to our region and indeed our city. So thank you very much.
All right, let me recognize Councilmember Holden.
Mr. Wong, you're an amazing man. You served under Mayor Bradley, Dick Ridge, Jimmy Hahn, and more than one commission. Just I got to tell you, you know more about city government, I'm sure, than just about anybody here except Ron Dean. So for that reason, I'm going to vote for you. Oh, and Joe Pochioka, he knows a lot.
Councilmember Gruhl.
Thank you. I, too, wanted to stand in support of Leland Wong, who I had the pleasure of meeting when I was in Tom Bradley's office, and when we started LA's Best, you led the fight and provided with Kaiser Permanente some of the first initial private sector dollars for LA's Best, which was really a catalyst for us to go out to other agencies. And so you have served on numerous commissions and have brought your insight and intellect and experience to each of those, and just wanted to stand up in support of you today in your new appointment and continued service to the city. Thank you, Leland.
Councilmember Labange.
Thank you, Madam President. Commissioner Leland Wong, thank you. This is a very important appointment, and I want to rise to support you. The Department of Water and Power is an extremely important department to our city, and your great expertise over many administrations will help that department, so I appreciate that. Water is going to be a giant issue in the next few years, and we have to continue to educate the public about that. And as also as we do with the power crisis that we just went through statewide, it's a real important department, as you know, and a lot of hardworking people there, not just in our city, but throughout the many, many, many miles of service that we bring the water to Los Angeles from the aqueduct or the transmission lines across the desert. So I just want to thank you. Do you have anything you want to say about the importance of water and power?
Councilman Labange, I agree that water is one of the very big issues that the city will be facing, as well as the whole energy issue. I look forward to working with the commission and the department and the city council to help solve some of those concerns. But we have to go forward, we have to be competitive, and we have to continue to deliver quality to the customers.
Right, and I know the quality of our water is very important, the security of our water system and our power system is extremely important, and then as we advance the areas of renewable resources and the important components there, I just want to thank you. We're very fortunate to have a commissioner who has so much other city experience that will only benefit the Department of Water and Power Commission. Congratulations and thank you.
Councilmember Weiss.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Wong, congratulations to you. I want to second what Mr. Labange, Mr. Gruhl, and everyone else has said. I mean, if there is a definition of a model citizen public servant in the city, it's you. And you've got so much experience and such terrific judgment on these issues. You're going to be a real credit to everybody. And it's not just, as we all know from the recent energy crisis, it's not just the city. I mean, it affects the states. It affects the Western United States. It's a terribly important job, and you're the perfect person for it. So congratulations to you, and I really look forward to working with you. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilmember Weiss. We now have the recommendation to confirm the appointment. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Entonces sí.
That matter is approved. We will send it forthwith, and thank you yet again for one more diligent level of service. Madam Clerk, why don't we take the item 1 on this agenda, special agenda?
Item number 1 is an item for which public hearing.
Oh. Before we do that, let me recognize Councilmember Holden for an introduction.
And last shall be first. Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to welcome the students from the Constitutional Rights Foundation and their sponsors, Mr. Sal Arona and Ben Cohn. They are here today at touring City Hall and meeting with various council members. Now open up your doors, you have an open door policy, let them in. Because the students are participating in an 8-week internship program that will help them have a deeper understanding of citizenship and educate them to become active and responsible participants in our society. The students come from all across the city, participates in this program, which is based in the 10th district, and your district as well. So I'd like to welcome the students and Mr. Rona and Ben Cohn, and I'm sure they'll make a few remarks.
Thank you, Councilmember Holden, and thank you for this council recognition. On behalf of myself and Sal Arona, I would like to congratulate the students who made it into this program. Over 70 students applied for these internship positions, and only 19 students were accepted. The students had to pass rounds of interviews and submitted an extensive application process. The students come from over 7 council member districts, and they work in hospitals, clinics, government offices, law firms, a number of different job sites in the nonprofit sector as well. And for a brief word on behalf of the students, I would like to invite Jackie Martinez to the podium.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jackie Martinez, and I am a student at Franklin High School. This spring, I am interning at the Alternative Association, located in the Mid-Wilshire District. On behalf of the other interns, I would like to thank the council for this recognition, and it's a delight being here. It's really a delight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Holden. Madam Clerk?
Item number 1 on the special meeting is item for which public hearing has been held. A Housing Community Development Report has been submitted and distributed to the council members.
All right, members of the council, are there any requests to speak? If seeing none, we have the matter before us, moved by Councilmember Gruhl, seconded by Mr. Weiss. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes. Madam President, could we ask that go forthwith?
That will be the order. We'll send it forthwith. I believe that now concludes the items that were on the special agenda.
Yes, it does, Madam President.
We can adjourn the special agenda and return to the normal agenda for the council. Let's proceed with the agenda, Madam Clerk.
Madam President, I don't know if there are any more presentations, if that
No, I believe the presentations have been concluded.
Okay, then the first order of business is approval of the minutes.
Mr. Reyes moves, Mr. Parks seconds, minutes are approved.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Those are approved.
On the regular agenda, items for which public hearings have been held, items 1 through 5. Item 5 is an item for which, item 3 is HCD report has been submitted and distributed to the council members.
Members, any specials? Items 1 through 5. Mr. Parks?
Number 4.
All right. Councilmember Parks calls item 4 special. I had a request from Mr. Holden who stepped up for future call item 2 special, so we'll do that on his behalf. So we have 1, 3, and 5. The motion on, with the amendment on 3. Seeing no one wishing to speak, those are before us. Open the roll. Close the roll. Oh, excuse me, item. Yes, item 2 is special. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those matters are approved.
Madam President, we ask item number 3 to go forthwith.
Item 3 will also go forthwith. Thank you.
Next item is better business items for which public hearings have not been held, items 6 through 29, and there is an amending motion that has been distributed on item number 6.
All right, again, we have no members of the public wishing to speak on this, so we will close the public hearing. Mr. Brinson has asked item 20 special. I'm sorry, 24. Members, any other specials? Again, Mr. Holden has asked items 7, 30, and 31 to be called special. He also asked that 24 go to environmental quality, so we'll discuss that. All right, so it is called special. All right, other than those, seeing no other items being called by the council members, they are before us. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those are approved.
On the continuation agenda, items 30 and 31, I believe were already called special by Councilmember, on behalf of Councilmember Holden.
That's correct. And item 32 is a closed session, so I'll call that special.
Then going back to the items called special, item number 2 was called special by Councilmember Holden.
And he has returned, yes, so we'll vote on that.
Item number 4 was called special by Councilmember Parks.
All right, let me recognize Councilmember Parks. Councilmember Parks? I believe you called number 4 special.
On number 4, and I think we talked to the city attorney about this before, but I just want to express a couple of concerns as we look at this issue of the incentive program. I think I can fully support the fact that we set up an attendance model and we can set up also dealing with a variety of issues, but when we put in a contract that a group of employees are going to get a stipend of $500 if they create enough enforcement for a $400,000 increase in revenue. In my judgment, we are setting up a quota program, which in many instances throughout the state has been deemed to be illegal, although the city attorney says they have not mentioned the number of tickets. But when you tie enforcement to an increase in revenue, whether you mention tickets or not, the enforcement revenue is coming from one source. So if we set a standard that you must raise $400,000 to get your $500 stipend, it is clearly attached to enforcement, and it's stated in the MOU. I just did not come with that portion. I think all of the other standards appear appropriate, but when you catch on the $400,000, it appears we are getting in the quota area and are skirting it so closely that it would not be an appropriate public policy. So that was my reason for bringing it up at special. And when you look at the sections in the vehicle code that deal with quotas, although they talk about the specifics of giving a number of tickets, it is not a far reach to then decide that if you attach a dollar figure for revenue gain, you're in the same situation as quota. And so I just like to have that discussion because I'm just uncomfortable with that language.
Could the CAO please address those concerns?
Yes, good morning. If you recall, this item was on a previous agenda and was continued for the express purpose of addressing Councilman Park's concern. We gave this issue to the City Attorney's Office to review and to specifically look at whether or not there's an issue regarding quotas. Our rep from the City Attorney Labor Relations Office has concluded that this does not expose the city to any liability. What this is that it's an incentive program that, as part of the program, will result in a lower absenteeism rate for our traffic control officers. And not a condition, but as a consequence of the lower absenteeism rate, more people will be on the job, which has a direct correlation to an increase in output and workload, and the output being the writing of parking tickets, and that equates with more revenue. But it's a consequence of reduced absenteeism. And so we did work closely with our labor relations staff. We had respect and concern as a consequence of Councilman Park's issues. Our city attorney has said, and she's not here unfortunately, but she has concluded that this does not set up a quota situation, does not expose the city to any unnecessary liability.
All right, Mr. Parks, does that answer your question?
I heard the answer. It doesn't satisfy me. I think the issue, if we talk about productivity and prospects that you might be able to raise more revenue, when you take the next step of saying you shall raise $400,000 more dollars in order to get to your stipend, you've pushed them into that quota system.
The dollar amount is not tied to whether or not they get the stipend. The dollar amount was identified in the proposal as a consequence of lower absenteeism. But it's not, if they should not achieve that dollar amount, this will have no impact whatsoever on the bonus.
My understanding in reading it, it says that if you don't reach the $400,000, you don't pay the $500 stipend. Yeah, I mean, so if it's connected in that fashion, you can't help but draw a conclusion that you're dictating that you write tickets in order to reach the $400,000 stipend.
Let me try it. The distinction I'm making is that what's driving the increase in revenue is reduced absenteeism. And the mere fact that we'll have more working days and with that more working hours from our traffic control officers has a positive impact on their output and on the workload, which will result in increased revenue.
I think I agree with everything you said, except when you tack on $400,000 as a preset number, you've now created a goal and a quota. If you said that after they're back to work, they can create, and if you look at some of the cases, it clearly states you can talk to people about productivity, and because they're out and about in the field, they can do certain things. But when you say this productivity is going to be because I've created more people in the field, and they're going to create $400,000 in revenue, you've now given them a quota.
Chair recognizes Councilmember Zine.
Thank you, Madam President. And those last words from Councilmember Park was quota. The California Vehicle Code expressly prohibits quotas for police officers. As the city attorney ruled that this does not apply to traffic enforcement officers?
With respect to the quota issue?
Yes, as prescribed in the California Vehicle Code, where it expressly prohibits a quota being established by a law enforcement agency.
I have a written communique from the city attorney's office, from Zena Houston. And let me read one part of it. It says, I reviewed the matter and believe we are on firm ground that the program does not establish or create an illegal quota system.
And this was handled by Councilman Parks. 41600 California Vehicle Code. For the purpose of this chapter, a arrest quota means any requirement regarding the number of arrests made or the number of citations issued by a peace officer and has been added by parking enforcement employee. And the code, 41600, used to just say peace officer, and for whatever reason, it's been expanded to parking enforcement employee. And the concern is, are we violating the California Vehicle Code 41600 specifically, or 41602 or 41603? I just want assurance from the city attorney that those sections have been reviewed and they're not applicable, because it sounds as if it is a quota, and if it's exempt it's expressly prohibited by the vehicle code for peace officers and now for traffic officers. Is the city attorney assuring us that we're not violating the California
Yes,
state law?
Mr. Zine, I think the city attorney would like to address you.
If I could interject, Ms. Houston, who was present at the last time this was before council, is on jury duty today and is not able to be here. If you want to put this over to another council.
I just want to make sure that looking at the sections of the vehicle code, this counters what is being proposed. And Councilor Parks and I discussed this issue about quotas. We know how it affects police officers, peace officers. I did not know until this handed me that it now includes the parking enforcement employees. This is a new amendment to the code.
Understand, in response to the councilman's concern and the fact he cited these specific sections of vehicle code, Zena Houston did look at these sections. Again, I'm referencing a written communique from her to our staff, and there's a specific reference to the vehicle code sections in question, and she still concluded that this does not constitute, establish, or create an illegal quota system.
And she examined 41600 section to 41603.
She cites 41602 and 41603 in this communique.
Well, I know we take advice from the city attorney, and I would hope that that advice is accurate. It does seem to counter what the rule is in the California Road Code.
With all due respect, this is not time sensitive. If this council would feel much more comfortable with a formal written opinion from the city attorney, I think that's more than
Or perhaps to have the city attorney who is familiar with the code, who wrote that memo, able to be here to discuss it and answer the questions.
That's absolutely appropriate.
Let me just ask this. If we had the same policy for our motorcycle officers, had the same policy adopted for our Los Angeles Police motorcycle officers, would that be permitted?
Okay. This vehicle, this opinion speaks to using quotas for promotion, demotion, and dismissal. As I mentioned, I think it's more than appropriate there's nothing that prohibits us from continuing this. If you want to hear directly from Ms. Houston, because all I'm referring to is a written communique from her.
I feel more comfortable. I just want to make sure that when we do this,
that's fine.
I understand incentive programs, and I'm not opposing incentive programs, but when it appears on the surface that there's a conflict, I'd like to hear from the deputy city attorney in charge of that, just to satisfy my mind and curiosity, so we don't end up with some litigation to say, well, why didn't we review this? Why didn't we know about this? Because I think it's pertinent, at least in Councilor Parks and my mind, coming from law enforcement, where that was the big no-no when you came up with those issues. So I would request if we could do that and hear from
All right, we'll consider that as a motion to continue the matter until the city attorney who is familiar with it can be present. And at the next, I also have Councilmember Holden who would like to speak. Would you like to speak now or wait until we have the city attorney? Yes.
Oh, yeah. Quota is a quota is a quota.
Cuota es una cuota.
No matter how you try to
No
name it.
importa cómo la quieran llamar.
Fact of the matter is that before you came to the city, I was chair of transportation committee, and I must tell you, they were openly requiring that traffic control officers write a certain number of tickets, or they were not being considered in good favor. That's the way they said they raised revenue. They were trying to say, you have to raise so many millions of dollars per year that way. And so the traffic control officers went out and wrote tickets against on abandoned automobiles. 2, 3 tickets. I drive right through the neighborhood, 2, 3 tickets, which they couldn't collect. But Lockheed collected because they got a percentage of each ticket that was written, which reduced the overall revenue that was received in that time period. So, and then it came out, the city attorney said, you can't do that. The city attorney's name was Mr. Hahn. You couldn't do it then. You can't legally have quotas now. You can have quotas. Let's look around and see where's the shortage. I think you need. Okay. It should apply to job discrimination. It should apply to women. It should apply to other minorities. Then when that comes up, they say no quotas. No quotas then, there, and no quotas here. And affirmative action sometimes program. Make people turn up their noses. Then they talk about reverse discrimination. Well, this is discrimination. It's the motorists of this city, people who own automobiles, if you're going to require that they write so many citations to get a bonus. You think they're going to go out and write citations, good tickets? They don't always write good tickets. I know people who work downtown Los Angeles who drove their car to their private parking lot for the company, and they received a notice in the mail, you received a parking citation. They said, how do I receive a parking citation? My car was not even there. They write bogus tickets. This will encourage them to do that. Stop it. I mean, the government shouldn't be in business to try to extract any way they can revenue from the good citizens of this city. And that's the net effect. It really is. If you see someone break the law, violate the parking, give them a citation. But to encourage the motorists to say, I got to get my bonus, let me go out and write some more tickets. It's an incentive for me to do so. That's beyond what is considered to be a quota. That's engaging in, it's even worse than entrapment. It's a violation of the rights and the law. It's abusing the privilege of the law that you have on your side. You carry that badge and that book. So I would say to you that under no, I didn't vote for it then. We killed the idea then. Now I hope to kill it now. If you want to get this thing through, wait until I retire.
Mr. Holden, there has been a request to continue this until the city attorney, who is familiar with the codes, can be here. So we will continue this for 2 weeks without objection. Next item.
Item number 2, called special by Councilmember Holden.
Mr. Holden, item number 2. Oh, I'm sorry. If there's no objection, Mr. Holden, we've had a request to take item 24 out of order. But that was also an item that Mr. Holden had a concern on. So item 24 is before us.
Yes, members of the council, because there was a commitment made by the CLA that this would go to committee and told the Water Quality Board they didn't have to attend today, even though I did not agree to that. I want to at least address the issue and offer an amendment to go with that to committee. I'd like to ask Mr. Holden if he will take this up at the next meeting. Mr. Holden, please. This, we're talking about the motion that I made relative to Sunshine Canyon and asking the mayor to try to withhold the issuance of a final permit. The California Water Quality Board issued a letter on 3/27/03 identifying inadequacies in BFI's joint technical document. While the board actually dealt with the county portion of the landfill, it raises many issues that should be considered by the city. BFI has applied for numerous permits, and several approvals are needed before it can operate Sunshine Canyon landfill expansion in the city. And I might add that even though this is in the county, that the city portion is below and down draft from the county portion, which means the water situation flows down through the watershed. And I might remind some of you who are not aware of this, that the main water supplies for the city of Los Angeles and for Southern California, meaning not only the city's main reservoir, but the Metropolitan Water District's filtration plant on Balboa Boulevard lie directly below the bank, the landfill. And this permit should never have been granted in the first place because it endangers the water supply of the whole area. These approvals for landfill expansion into the city portion include Regional Water Quality Board waste discharge permit, waste facility permit from California Integrated Waste Management Board, stream bed alteration permit from Army Corps of Engineers, finding of conformance from LA County Integrated Waste Management Task Force. City of Los Angeles should conduct a comprehensive review of the environmental implications of the board's findings on the county side and determine what it means to the city, although it should be very obvious that water flows downhill. Likewise, we must develop a coordinated strategy to address all the pending permits for Sunshine Canyon's expansion on the city side, including a review of the environmental, legal, and health and safety concerns relating to these permits and how to address our concerns before the appropriate permitting agencies and boards. Given the Regional Quality Water Control Board's findings of inadequacies and numerous other pending permits relating to the landfill expansion of the city side, what actions can be taken by the Environmental Affairs Department, local enforcement agency, with its regard to its oversight and permitting role? I therefore move the City Attorney Environmental Affairs Department report to the Environmental Quality and Waste Management Committee and provide the following recommendations on a coordinated and comprehensive city strategy to address the pending environmental permits for the Sunshine Canyon landfill expansion in the City of Los Angeles, and 2, recommendations on what actions the Environmental Affairs Department, acting as a local enforcement agency, can take with its regards to the oversight and permitting role of Sunshine Canyon. So I would send this to committee. Mr. Holden is committed to take this up at the next meeting, and we need some answers on this because the health and the future of a lot of residents, not only of Los Angeles, but of the entire county and area, are in jeopardy with the approval of any further expansion of this landfill. So I would ask that be done, and thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me, and this will be taken up at the next committee.
Thank you, Mr. Brinson. We've now had the request from Mr. Holden to take this matter with the amendment that Mr. Brinson has just introduced into the next meeting of environmental quality. So there's no one else wishing to speak, and that will be the order. Next item, Mr. Reyes.
President, you can forthwith item 21, please.
Item 21 will be forthwith, as well as item 6. All right, Madam Clerk, next item.
Item number 2 is called special by Councilmember Holden.
Mr. Holden? You're recognizing you now for item number 2.
Item number 2 deals with, could I report on this? Came out of committee. I know preferential parking for teachers for the Unified School District. And they asked for special favors, and they asked that we report back within 60 days to the council. Anybody want to talk about these preferential parking?
Is there anyone from the Department of Transportation here? Or since this is a Neighborhood and Education Committee report, perhaps Ms. Hahn wants to address it.
Thank you. This was heard in my committee last July. And just, may I go on the record and say, I think it's things like this that are still troubling to me, that it takes this long to be waived out of another committee before it comes to the council. That's frustrating to me in terms of how long it takes us to do things in the city. But last July, this was brought to my committee, and of course the issue is with more schools being built, with schools being overcrowded, with many of the former parking spaces for teachers and faculty being now taken up by bungalows and other things to accommodate really overcrowded schools. The teachers are finding difficulty in going to their schools, finding parking. Sometimes the neighborhoods are not as friendly in terms of wanting them to park in obviously, again, much used spaces in neighborhoods. I felt it was an issue that we needed to take a look at and we needed to address because, again, we are building more schools. We're trying to attract good teachers to come and teach, but if we can't really work with our teachers to find them adequate parking as they spend their days teaching in our neighborhood schools, then we've got a problem. So one of the things I did in my committee was ask for a task force made up of some city departments, the mayor's office, planning, LAUSD, and hopefully, again, this sounds like it's a good issue for a couple of representatives from neighborhood councils to come back and make a report on some issues, whether it's preferential parking or whether it's, sometimes we have 2-hour parking around schools. Maybe we allow teachers to park there. I mean, I just thought it was an issue we needed to look at because it is an issue. It's pitting residences against the teachers, and which I think is an unfair fight in the first place. We need to figure out how to work together ultimately to improve our neighborhood schools. So that's where it left my committee, is to ask back for a report from this sort of task force to see what our options are in terms of preferential parking for our teachers.
Thank you. Mr. Holden, you have the floor.
Right now, I'm going to tell you what you're going to find is a major problem. When neighborhoods, and Ms. Koski knows this more than anyone else because she has a lot of preferential parking districts in her district. Ms. Weiss does also. The fact of the matter is that they want to be able to park in front of their home in their neighborhood, and they are willing to pay a fee to have that privilege. And the idea is to deny people from just coming in, businesses everywhere, to take up the parking spaces. If a school is adjacent there to a nearby, they will park there, period. And you're saying don't require them to pay a fee? That's one of the things you suggest. The answer, well, it's in here, exempt the fee. The answer to that would be no under the best of circumstances. If you do that, the neighborhood is going to get very upset about it. Number two, the school districts should provide parking for the teachers at the site. They take people's homes, they take their businesses, they say, we have to have a school here, so you're out. I think you're going to, it's your decision eventually, but you're going to cause more problems than you're going to solve in those neighborhoods. You will cause more problems in those neighborhoods. If you don't believe it, take a survey of the preferential parking districts where there's a school located within the respective neighborhood, and then ask them what they think of it. I think as you do this report, take a survey of every single one of them and say, would you want your exemption for 60 cars, 30 cars that teachers own? On your block, sometimes you can't get more than 30 cars. That means the people who are paying for preferential parking can't park there because the teachers are there all day long. And they should be parking at the school site. Well, that's the problem. The school's got to make arrangement for off-site parking, like we do in here in the city, for their employees. Do what you will. But when it finally comes back, all these questions should be answered. If they're not answered, then you ought to vote no. In fact, you're receiving violence because you're creating a lot of problems.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Chair recognizes Councilmember Gruhl.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to stand up and compliment actually both of my colleagues, Mr. Holden and Ms. Hahn, about this issue. I have been visiting every school in my district and meeting with the principal and community leaders to address issues surrounding schools. And many of us, you know, we have schools, and particularly in elementary schools, where they were built for 400 kids. And at that time, when we were young, we walked to school. So there was less traffic. We now have campuses who have 1,600 to 1,800 kids coming to school. Their parents are driving them, and it's impacting the neighborhood, again, also with the teachers. So we have set up some task forces with LAPD and DOT at a couple of locations in my district that have been particularly troublesome. But I think that what Councilmember Hahn is trying to do here is say, we can't ignore the problem. It's not necessarily going to be resolved by the permit issue, but it means that we have to have everyone at the table to design some response to the problems that are in our neighborhoods. Because we do have teachers who have nowhere to park, and they're parking sometimes in the streets where they're blocking those neighborhood, residences and so forth. So I think this is a good idea to have us sit at the table with LAUSD and the other partners and make sure that we can, in fact, come up with a resolution that benefits both our neighborhoods as well as the teachers and principals, et cetera. So I stand in support of this motion today and look forward to the task force recommendations that's going to balance those needs. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Gruel. Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. I have about 3 new high schools being contemplated in my district alone, close to, I believe, 2 or 3 middle schools, in an area where I have 20,000 persons per 1 square mile. So we're literally looking at how we combine housing and schools on one site. And we have a couple of projects that we are working on. Council members who are concerned for this issue, I would hope that you would understand that we would not only want to have the streets for parking permits, but I believe in some parts of the city we need to consider closure of streets to serve as parking spaces. Because in District 1, for example, I don't have the room for schools and homes plus the cars. So I have 2 or 3 families living in one apartment unit. I have densities that these streets were designed to only hold 2,000 to 3,000 persons per square mile. We're talking about 20,000 per square mile. So I would hope that this body take into effect the nuances and changes that these particular areas are going through. So I would hope that's the kind of discussion. And that's not your fault, Mr. Bernstein. You got my vote? Okay. Now, I'm not talking you out of it, but I want to put this on the table because these factors need to be folded into the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes.
I'll learn from the best.
Council recognizes Mr. Pacheco.
Madam President, colleagues, I stand in support of the formation of this group to look at this issue. I would simply want to give the group some direction from the standpoint that I believe that if we're going to deal with the preferential parking permits or preferential parking area, I would ask for a friendly amendment at this point that we make sure that we process all of our residents' requests for preferential parking permits or areas prior to processing one for the teachers. I think we have a responsibility to represent our constituents and their permit requests first before we go into other areas. And then the second thing I would recommend is that because of the request that we look into a shared cost of the administrative costs for this processing of permits for LA Unified School District employees. So I would simply ask that we give some direction to the committee that there's got to be some basic policy things that we should agree on. Those are 2 that I firmly believe we should start with, because if there's a baseline, that the residents' applications should get first priority, and over the employees, LA Unified School District employee applications. And the alley. Okay, well, it's just a friendly amendment, so I'm not sure if you're the maker of the motion. So, and the second is that we seriously talk about the cost being shared with, or if not shared, subsidized by the LA Unified School District to process these requests. So I offer those as friendly amendments as part of today's report. Okay?
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. Chair recognizes Councilmember Labange.
I just wanted to rise to support my colleague Janice Hahn on the formation of a working group as opposed to a task force. If I could just say a working group. Good. I know, I just slept on that, but this is extremely important. In one school in my district right now, because a child was hit crossing the street, we put in more restrictions for safety for the children, but then that impacted the neighborhood because of the removal of parking. So it is extremely important. And there is a unit in the Department of Transportation and in the Los Angeles Unified School District that's focused on these type of problems. And I think it would be fair to say that we need to look at the issue of preferential parking and how it relates to schools. It's a problem over and over again, so I rise to support the working group. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Labange. We've had we've had a number of friendly amendments that the working group should consider as they report back on this. And with that, the matter is now before us. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That matter is approved. Next item.
Item number 7, called special by Councilmember Holden.
Mr. Holden, item 7.
Right. This one we have to have a report on. Has to do with that.
City engineer or sanitation? They're coming forward.
Sewer system. Construction. It's going right through my neighborhood, and all of the streets from the valley and from Hollywood and Glendale and Burbank come down right through my neighborhood, and then they go to, here's Culver City, and where else do they go? All right, will you tell us what's going on there about some parking spaces or
Good morning,
shopping site?
Madam President, members. The item before you is basically to approve an acquisition of an easement across a piece of property to widen an access way to an existing city piece of property for the construction of the East Central Interceptor sewer. The current driveway is 16 feet wide. It's not really sufficiently wide for the size of the trucks that we are going to be moving in there for the construction. And so we're acquiring an additional 4 feet of easement to widen the driveway to 20 feet. The property from which we will be acquiring this 4 feet of easement will be losing a number of parking spaces as a result of this acquisition. And so as part of a negotiated settlement, we agreed that in addition to the compensation for the strip, that we would provide them a license to have a portion of our property used as a parking area for a period of, I believe, 10 years. Our easement will be permanent. We plan to have a permanent facility on this site, and the parking will then extinguish at the end of the license period.
This additional property that you intended to acquire, is that in Los Angeles or in Culver?
No, sir. The entirety of this this particular segment of the project is in the city of Culver City.
And they support what you're doing?
Yes, they do.
And how many more trucks are going into that area? How long will it take to finish the project?
The number of trucks aren't going to increase any more than had originally been planned, and I do not know.
How many have been planned for?
I honestly don't know.
And how long will it take before the project is finished?
It'll probably take a couple of years.
A couple more years. And you're bringing more trucks into the area that people live, that's right near Target. The Target store right around the corner there, is that correct?
I believe there is a Target in the general vicinity.
So it's a lot of traffic in there anyway.
Yes.
Now what's the working hours? I mean, if you have peak hour traffic coming out Jefferson, right around Rodeo?
The number of, I'm not sure the timing on the trucks. They're not going to be that many per day, but the trucks are sufficiently large that we need to have this additional space to make sure that they can enter the site safely.
All the good reason why we should not have a transfer station in. Senate Department of Transportation.
But this is not the location of the transfer station.
The transfer station is right nearby.
The transfer station, and I'm not sure if and when
right nearby, which bring in more trucks, and if you move Division 6 from Venice, in that area, be more buses. It's already impacted into a congested area, and all the more reason why we should review those requests. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. The chair recognizes Councilmember Parks.
I just had one question, thank you, Madam Chair. I have one question on that. I didn't quite understand. We have a 10-year lease for the parking lot?
What it is, we have about a 4-acre site that is currently being used as staging and construction for the actual ESIS project. And then at the end of that period of time, we're going to construct an odor control facility on the site. The only access for this 4-acre site is a 16-foot wide driveway easement. It is not adequately wide provide for the size of the trucks that will be moving onto the site. So what we are going to do is acquire an additional 4 feet from one property owner. When we do that, we're going to eliminate some of his parking. Our site, the 4 acres, is sufficiently large to not only accommodate all of our current requirements, but to provide him with a number of parking spaces that will help to alleviate his loss of parking that will be created by this easement.
My only question is that how much longer does the contract for the parking go beyond what our project is going to be?
Well, the contract for the parking is going to go for a total of 10 years. I think our construction is only going to go for 2, but our easement will be permanent. In other words, we will have, so he will have a permanent loss in parking as a result of the widening of the driveway.
My only concern is that if our project is over in 2 years, and we say that this easement adds $1 million to the value of the property, it appears it would limit the city's ability to do something with the property if they have a 10-year contract for the parking.
The nature of the size of the site, and to the best of my knowledge, while it does add to the property, the current desires of the Department of Sanitation are to use it for city purposes in the foreseeable future.
What type of city purpose?
It is essentially right now it is going to be used for the construction of a major odor control facility.
So the odor control facility will go beyond the 2 years?
Yes, sir. It will be there permanently.
So what is the life of the entire project with we're using the easement and then the odor control?
That will go for in perpetuity, the odor control facility.
I mean, the construction?
The construction, the odor control facility will be a permanent facility that will be constructed after the major construction ends in 2 years.
And then what is the timeline on the odor?
I honestly don't know. As far as timeline for construction, I don't know.
I'm trying to get an idea of the compatibility of a 10-year lease and the city's future use of the property and whether that inhibits that usage.
It is, we went through this with the... Okay.
Judy Wilson, Director of the Bureau of Sanitation. Once the odor control facility is constructed, we need to maintain that facility, so we're going to need access and that easement in a permanent fashion. And the life of a sewer is anywhere between 75 and 100 years. And this is a permanent odor control facility as part of the project. And we'll need to have permanent O&M.
We need permanent access, so we will have no other use for that property other than getting access to the odor control facility?
We'll need the permanent easement for access. There's potentially the opportunity to dispose of the property for other types of uses, but we'll always need an easement to the odor control facility.
We're assured then that the 10-year lease is not going to inhibit the city's future use of the land they own there?
It should not. And Culver City was perfectly okay with this.
Thank you for that clarification. This item is now before us. Open the roll. Close the roll. Tabulate the vote. 13 ayes. That matter is approved. We will send that forthwith. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Items 30 and 31 were called special by Councilmember Holden, and there is an amending motion that has been distributed to the council.
All right, these are items dealing with the same issue. They are now before us, items 30 and 31. The chair recognizes Mr. Holden, who called them special. Mr. Holden, would you like an explanation by staff for these items? All right, then let's ask the CLA and the city attorney to describe what's before us.
The items before you are proposed amendments to the development agreement and the gap funding agreement for the Staples transaction. On the original deal that the council approved back in 1997, I believe, the developer was required to post a letter of credit in the approximate amount of $74 million. That was to cover the entire obligation for the developer over a 25-year period to the city. The developer has now had 5 years of operating experience and, of course, contracts with the Lakers and the Kings and the Clippers, long-term agreements, et cetera, with naming rights sponsors and other sponsors of the arena itself. So they approached us and asked for an amendment to the requirement on the letter of credit. This will do several things. First of all, by changing the requirements of the letter of credit, it will allow the local Los Angeles Anschutz Entertainment Group to essentially split off from the Denver parent company and make decisions here in Los Angeles. And we believe that that would be a significant benefit to furthering the development of the sports and entertainment district around the convention center and the hotel itself. Additionally, they will pay the city up front a sum of $16.5 million. That money is one-time money, and we recommend that that be used for capital projects. We will be back to the Budget and Finance Committee on Wednesday with recommendations on how to spend that money, and then that will come back before the council. So essentially before you is a change to the letter of credit. They will have to post an annual letter of credit of $1.75 million rather than having the total amount over the 25 years outstanding in the letter of credit. In essence, those are the actions before you today.
The city attorney want to add anything?
Let me just add that the changes to the development agreement are such to make it consistent with the changes that we want to make to the gap funding agreement.
All right, Mr. Holden?
What if the teams decide to move out of Los Angeles? What happens to the debt that's been incurred by the city of Los Angeles? Where did the money come from to pay it? It's hypothetical. But what if? The Lakers should be bought and moved, or the Kings should be bought and moved. Then what do we do?
Well, we'll be in the same position we're in under the current agreement. We do not have an actual contract with any of those teams. We do not have a direct one-party relationship with those teams. The developer would still be responsible for all the payments.
The developer would be responsible for the payments today, but if you amend this agreement on a year-to-year basis, and that should happen, then who would be responsible for the payments?
The
developer would still be responsible.
Yeah, but the developer would cease to exist at that point.
If the developer abandons the property, then it becomes the property of the city of Los Angeles. If the developer abandons it under the ground lease, the arena would then belong to the city of Los Angeles.
What's the ground lease says?
That's what the ground lease says, that if they cease to use it.
Well, they can use it for just some minor events, concerts and a few things like that. But what I'm just trying to say is if the teams were not here, what's wrong with this existing agreement? If the city is getting less money under the existing agreement, and supposedly you get more money if you change the agreement on an annual basis, then what's wrong with them just giving us less money?
Well, again, what this would do, first of all, is the city would receive $16.5
Hold my time, you just let it keep going.
The city would receive $16.5 million up front. Now, the obligation of the developer does not change. It's only the security for the obligation that will change. So I guess the question before you is whether or not there's a reasonable expectation that the developer or the Staples owner would essentially go out of business and stop making payments to the city. If they do that and abandon the arena is on city property, and the arena would come back to the city.
What's the annual contribution we get from the
total of we receive a total of $5.2 million per year from the developers. Now, that comes from several sources. First of all, there's a ticket fee on all attendees at the arena. That generates roughly $4 million a year. The balance comes from essentially overflow parking revenues at the convention center. And if those two numbers don't add up to $5.2 million, then the owners of Staples have to write us a check for the balance. That will essentially stay the same. The obligation is not changing, it's only the security for the obligation.
So they're paying you $15 million or $16 million up front in order to make the agreement, the change in the agreement, is that what I hear?
Correct.
Development agreement? Then why don't we just do this then? You're getting about $4 or $5 million a year. Why don't we just say for the next 3 years, they give you $15, $16 million, they don't pay anything. Take the 16, 15 million, and then commence or continue the existing agreement beyond that point.
Well, a couple
no loss.
First of all, in order for the Los Angeles Corporation to separate from Denver, that $74 million letter of credit has to be released. That is a very onerous requirement that somebody the size of Anschutz Entertainment Group or Anschutz Group which of course owns Quest and Union Pacific and Edwards Theaters and AEG, et cetera, they can perhaps afford a $70 million letter of credit. The local company cannot, and it is our belief that there is a higher likelihood that we'll proceed with the development of the entertainment center if decisions are made locally with the people here in Los Angeles who have a commitment to do it.
But does this agreement today, if we vote for it, lock us into what's written? Will it come back to the council? Full council? Because the amendment gives the authority to the president of the council to sign off.
Correct. The only thing that would come back to council is how to spend the $16.5 million that we
Well, if I'm going to vote for this today, I don't want the president of the council to sign off. I want the full council to rehear the matter.
No, let me explain that. The council would have to approve it. You just would be giving the president the authority to sign the document once you approve the document.
Well, before it's approved?
No, after you
The
approve it.
agreement.
Normally, it would normally say in most transactions that the mayor sign it, but when we started the Staples Arena project, the mayor had a conflict. So the council decided to have the
But this
president.
mayor does not have a conflict, so let the mayor sign it.
Well, we left it with the president because then it's consistent with all the other documents.
We give it to the mayor. And I think it should be the mayor. It was intended to be the mayor and not the president of the council, who's elected by all the people, the mayor and the entire city. And I'll have to vote no unless one, the mayor is authorized, as he ought to be, to sign the final agreement. And I so move. As part of, this is an amendment, and I want to make that amendment 31A to so specify that it should be the mayor that signs.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Members, there's been a motion. Is there a second? There's no second. Mr. Parks.
Why are you smiling at me? No, the only thing I need to explain is how did we come or compute the 16 million versus the 75 million for real-time dollars today versus waiting 25 years. What was the formula, or how did we come up with it to have that figure? And then I think you answered the other question, is the council will eventually get some document to say how the 16 million will be proposed to be spent. But I just didn't understand how we computed today's dollars versus 25 years down the road dollars.
Okay, the $16.5 million is actually comprised of two elements. It's the present value, it's in today's dollars, of what we expect the Staples Arena owners to pay us every year over the next 25 years. So that's all in today's dollars. That's $14.7 million. Another $1.8 million is money, essentially, the developer is splitting the letter of credit fees over the next 25 years with the city. So they're keeping half the savings and giving the city half the savings, and that's $1.8 million. Those two numbers add up to the $16.5 million. So it's in today's dollars what we expect them to pay us over the next 25 years.
Okay, but if we stretch it out over the 25 years, it comes out to 75 million. Is that correct?
No. Essentially, it's the difference between the ticket fee, which we're going to continue to get. And as I indicated, the total is $5.2 million. The ticket fee is about $4 million of that. The balance is about $1.2 million. So it's actually the $1.2 million over the next 25 years brought into today's dollars.
Maybe you can clarify. What if we did not change it and went for the whole 25 years, what would the city realize in the 25-year period getting their incremental annual assessment?
The annual payment to the city is $5.2 million.
Each year for 25 years?
For 25 years.
Okay. That would give us $75 million.
Correct. But again, that comes from the admissions fee on the tickets, which we're going to continue to get. They will continue to pay us that every year. So we're going to continue to get
beyond 16 million.
Yes, we'll continue to get $4 million a year every year for the next 25 years at least.
So I think it would be helpful if, that's the first time I've figured that out, is that if we're going to get $4 million a year continually for the next 25 plus the 16 million, it's not this big gap of 75 versus 16, then it makes it sound a little more reasonable. That's, I think, the big stumbling block.
Yeah, the situation, what has happened up to this time also is that we have received $3.5 million from the ticket tax, and the remainder of the money was made up one of two ways. Was either from parking that was related to the arena or a cash payment by the arena company because there wasn't parking. For the most part, it's been the latter, not the former. I mean, the cash reverse of what I just said.
Ticket fee, not ticket tax.
The ticket fee. The ticket fee is 3.5, but forgetting that the difference between the 5.1 and the 3.5 has, because of lack of parking expectation, not meeting expectations at least, that has been a cash payment. That will continue to be the case over the next, until the conclusion of this. We're just taking out $16.5 million at this point and reducing the letter of credit.
So under this arrangement, if we calculate it out over the next 25 years, $16 million, is there a figure that the city, in comparing with the 75 million, what the city is actually going to get?
Basically, they're prepaying about $28 million. That's the present value of that $28 million and $16 million today. The balance the city will continue to get $4 million a year for 25 years.
Thank you. Yes. Other members wishing to be heard? Seeing none, members, we have the item before us.
And there is an amending motion also.
Was there a second to the amending motion?
Yes, there was. It was a written amending motion that was distributed to the council members.
Oh, that's right.
And also,
is there any objection to the amending motion?
Mr. Holden's motion as well. I think
members, is there an objection to the amending motion that has been distributed in writing? If not, then we'll incorporate that as a friendly amendment. Mr. Holden made a motion, seconded by Councilmember Hahn.
And we have no problems if that's incorporated.
Okay. Is there any objection to the Holden amending motion?
Excuse me, Mr. President, could I have a clarification on Mr. Holden's amending motion?
Mr. Holden's motion is currently once the council approves, the president of the council would sign. Mr. Holden's motion is the mayor will sign in place of the president of the council.
We would need to rewrite the ordinance to so reflect.
So we'll modify that on the floor. So the ordinance should be changed accordingly.
If there's no objection to Mr. Holden's amending motion.
Both the change to the ordinance and to the sign.
If there's no objection to the amending motion offered by Mr. Holden, we'll consider the matter as amended as well. Madam Clerk, please open the roll on the entire matter. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Those matters as amended are approved. Forthwith, please. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, there is a special one on the desk. It's presented by Council President Padilla, and City Attorney will speak to the findings.
City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll read into the record the findings for Council to consider. On February 24th, the city removed 14 public payphone booths located in the Parthenia and Cedros area of the 7th Council District. Since the posting of today's agenda, a private company has now installed 2 public phone booths in the same location. Immediate action is required to request the City Attorney's Office to commence public nuisance abatement proceedings. Pursuant to the Government Code, Council must first determine whether there is a need to take immediate action and that the need for action came to the attention of Council after the posting of today's agenda. If such a finding is made, Council may then consider the substantive motion.
Members, any questions on the findings? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please open the roll on the findings. Please close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Special one is now before us. Members wishing to be heard on the motion itself. Mr. Zine.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is there a requirement that permits when they're going to install phones at specific locations? And I don't know if staff is here to answer that question, but it seems that if you're doing something to rid the community of a nuisance and an eyesore and leading to illegal activity, that there would be, I would assume, an appropriate permit that would be granted. Otherwise, you could take out 14 phones, and next week you could have 28 phones installed. Is there some process in place where they have to have a permit, or is it just at their discretion? And is there anyone here who would know that answer?
Thank you for asking that question. Thank you. And I think it exposes the payphone company for what they're up to. The mayor, the city attorney, and I had a press conference less than a month ago at this location in the Panorama City, North Hills area, right on Cedros, just off of Parthenia. And the phones that we pulled out of that location were in the public right-of-way. What the payphone company has now done is found a spot literally a couple of feet away from the public right-of-way on private property to install new payphones. They came to us, wanted to cooperate, wanted to participate, wanted to support the city, supposedly in good faith. I hope this is not the good faith that they meant that day. So they found a way to do it on private property where it is permitted, and that's causing the problems that we were trying to get rid of initially. So that explains the urgency of the action. It did come to our attention since the posting of the agenda, and the urgency to act here is because of the condition that the surrounding residents have to live in, where 14 payphones, colleagues, 14 payphones in one intersection is just unbelievable. And we know that it's a tool of the trade and it's providing for an environment that's just unlivable. We left 2 payphones in there by agreement of all parties, limited to business hours only, so that the residents can have the amenity to use a payphone if they so choose or if they so need. But this is just circumventing what we thought was an agreement before. We're asking, if they're going to take it to the next level, then we're going to take it to the next level. Let's begin nuisance abatement proceedings. Let's get those phones yanked out, and let's bring peace back to the residents in that community.
Okay, seeing no one else on the speaker queue? Dennis? Sikowski? Yes, please.
I did push the speaker button. I agree, and absolutely, I support Mr. Padilla. There have been a number of other areas, and when I used to represent the Van Nuys area, Van Nuys Boulevard was another notorious site for an excessive amount of payphones that created problems. But I think Mr. Zine's point is well taken too, so let's act on this today, but ask that the staff report back, aside from addressing this as a public nuisance item, what is the regulation, have the staff, and what other range of authority do we have relative to the installation of public payphones. Many of them are in the public right-of-way. That's how we were able to address many of them on Van Nuys Boulevard, because they were in and on the sidewalk area, just literally within inches over into the public right-of-way. But let's address the issue. So public right-of-way, we know we have the authority to have them removed. What authority, what permitting process, whether or not, how we should handle them in the on the private property, whether or not we should create a threshold of a certain number per block as a normal minimum and not beyond that. So let's have the planning department consider as a separate motion here and a report back on what permitting authority through either planning and or building and safety is required, if any at all, and if none at all, then how we should proceed to look at whether or not we need to create some degree of regulation. So I think if I consider that, ask that be a friendly amendment for a separate report back on this whole area of public phones, recognizing it up in the beginning, as Mr. Padilla has said. There's no question that public phones availability provide a value. If you're stranded someplace and don't carry the cell phone, you need access to public telephone capability. But let's make sure that they don't get turned into something else, which has been abused in a couple of our neighborhoods, and have some ability to control it and regulate it.
Great. We still have Mr. Zine on the speaker queue. Do you still wish to speak, Mr. Zine?
Thank you, Mr. President. Councilman Sikowski eloquently stated my concerns. I would just add that the Public Utilities Commission may be contacted, and I think they also have to be part of that process. I think they're regulated, if not by public utilities or whatever agencies regulating them throughout the state. But obviously, Councilman Padilla has a concern for his community, and anytime you can have 14 phones at one particular location, it's not because of people's necessity to make phone calls. It's obviously for some other purpose. So totally support that, and then hopefully we'll have some ordinances put into place so we can control this. And as Councilman Padilla said, they wanted to work with you, but obviously they haven't been as honest and forthright as they should have been. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Zine. We have Councilmember Labange on the queue.
Just make a point, and I don't know if anyone from the industry is here or listening, but in some cities that I've been, they've had phone
teléfonos.
areas within a commercial complex where you have private booths. In postal stations in Germany, they have phone within the postal system, and it gives an opportunity to get service where the people could need the service, but then it takes it off the street. So I want to also say we should encourage the industry to look if they rented a storefront at a commercial corner and put it in, so people could, a lot of times people make long-distance calls to talk to family, they have that. And I think of the phone booths they used to have at Disneyland and Tomorrowland at Disneyland, where you had that concept in there, where you had that ability to contact. I just wanted to put that plug in if the industry is listening, because I know these challenges of payphones on public streets do overwhelm some neighborhoods, but I wouldn't want to deny the opportunity to people to communicate to others.
Thank you, Councilman Labange. Seeing no one else on the queue, we can put this to a vote. Open the roll.
Ábrese la lista.
Close the roll.
Ciérrese la lista.
Tabulate the vote.
Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
13 sí.
Court, please. Next item.
Next item, Mr. President, this is the time for comments from the public on items not on council's agenda.
Public comment period for today's meeting. The council calls forward Armando Herman.
Good morning, council members. I want to bring to your attention again, would you agree that we continue to have a gang problem in LA? Who do you blame? Who will secure our safety and ensure our safety on the streets of Los Angeles and our communities? It has been painstaking living in our communities in Los Angeles. Basic human rights and civil rights have been ignored. We citizens are aware of the pitiable and unfair conditions that affect our lives, affect our quality of life. It's no longer bearable. The city is responsible for this misconduct because the city has not protected the safety and welfare of its citizens. What do I mean? I'm talking about barbarism and ruthlessness of the gang problems that have ruined lives and terrorized our communities. Graffiti and crime have become an everyday calamity. The majority of the city leadership have a misunderstanding to the quality of life issues that exist today and from the time that I spoke about. Also, yes, administration, you have become heartless, insensitive to this public concern and need. Boyle Heights demands immediate solutions and recovery to this gang problem, an ongoing problem. From the lawlessness of gangs and the accountability of city services. There is a method, but city leadership have discriminated against the people, the citizens of Los Angeles, and especially Boyle Heights. In addition, new harsh laws are needed to restore and enforce and execute changes for better quality of life issues. Furthermore, the result has been a drift towards professionalism at the expense of idiosyncrasies. Has anything really changed? Listen.
Operation Clean Sweep, 213-978-0229. Just following up on the graffiti request on Boulder and Slope. I talked to our contractor, and they will try to get out there sometime in the next couple days. They said that they've been trying to take it easy in the area a little bit. They apparently were shot at, actually, by some of the camp gang members about 2 weeks ago, and have trying to pick and choose when they go in there and get in and out as quick as they can, just to not have a real big presence until things kind of cool down. So anyway, they are hearing in the grapevine that things have cooled down a little bit, and they anticipate being able to get in there and address those locations this week. Any questions? Give me a call, 978-0229.
So as you hear and as you will see and continue to see in our streets, the problem has not been resolved. Please take some matters and some steps to help us, especially in Boyle Heights. I realize Nick Pacheco is going to be out, but there should be no excuse for the city not to react to the concerns of the people and their lives.
Thank you very much. This concludes public comment for today's meeting. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Mr. President, you wish to clear the desk before going into closed session.
Let's do housekeeping.
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Motion shall be posted and referred.
There are excuses on the desk. Councilmember Labange requests to be excused Wednesday, April 16th, to leave at 11:30 for city business. A motion is required.
Mr. Weiss moves. Mr. Labange is excused.
Councilmember Parks requests to be excused Tuesday, April 22nd for city business. A motion is required.
Mr. Parks moves. Excused.
Council President Padilla requests to be excused for city business Wednesday, April 30th. That meets council policy.
Excuse granted.
And that clears the desk for closed session.
Okay. In conformance with California law, the council will now adjourn into closed session. Guards, please clear the chambers. Welcome back into open session. Madam Clerk, next matter before us, please.
That clears the desk, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Members, are there any announcements today? Ms. Gruhl.
Yes, Councilmember Padilla. Tomorrow, Saturday, April 12th, we will be opening a new farmers market at the May Company Robinson's lot in North Hollywood and Laurel Plaza, and hope that people will come and participate. It's between 4 and 8. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity for our community to come together, to provide wonderful produce and other types of materials and so forth, but we encourage everyone to come and support the North Hollywood area tomorrow, Saturday. Thank you.
Ms. Hahn.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, tomorrow, Saturday, 10 a.m., down at Fire Station 112 in the beautiful Port of Los Angeles, we will be, as a city, along with the fire department, dedicating 4 brand new fireboats to be part of the fleet down in the harbor area, and we will be retiring the Ralph J. Scott, which is one of the most beloved 78-year-old fireboats in the country that has certainly served the Port of Los Angeles and the harbor area well. If you have not been down lately, council members, why don't you think about coming down tomorrow morning? It's going to be an incredible dedication, and I understand the water spray that this new fireboat can emit is supposed to be absolutely spectacular, over 150 feet, and so it will be quite a display. But why don't you come on down, and I'll even let you say something if you want to come to the dedication.
Mr. Labange.
Well, thank you. I'm planning to go, and it's wonderful to see our Los Angeles Fire Department in the port and how they operate in these new boats and the great commitment. But also I wanted to let the council members know and the public know that this Sunday is the annual Jimmy Stewart Marathon Relay, which benefits St. John's Hospital in West Los Angeles. Jimmy Stewart, that great American, who picked this park, Griffith Park, because it's the park for all the people, to run what is billed as the largest relay marathon in the world. And it's been going on, I believe, for 19 years. And I'm just very pleased to be out there. And Johnny Grant will be there, along with Bob Wagner and some of the other supporters and friends of the hospital, and it's a good cause. Come out and enjoy it and watch it if you don't want to run it. Thank you.
Ms. Mizikowski.
I just want to echo what Ms. Hahn said as well, that in fact I think tomorrow you're going to have essentially a changing of the guard of the ships. And so you're going to have both saluting each other, and it's just going to be a magnificent display down there. And not only is the boat new and all the other ones new, but the particular new big one was drawn to our specifications, state of the art. fact, the chief was saying that as it was being built up in Bellingham, Washington, they had many other fire departments around the country saying, we want it. Can we somehow figure out a way to keep it here? So we've got it. LA is going to dedicate it tomorrow. It's going to be spectacular.
Announcements, Mr. Parks?
Two announcements. First one, the Park Mesa Heights Neighborhood Council is going to have their meeting Saturday at the Jackie Robinson Post at 3828 West Slauson. This is the newest area, the 8th district, having come primarily from the 6th district, and so they're organizing on a variety of community concerns. And also tomorrow, the 3rd and 4th Avenue Neighborhood Watch Club will be meeting at the Martin Luther King United Methodist Church at 6625 4th Avenue at 10 a.m.
Ms. Perry.
Thank you very much. Two announcements. Again, I wanted to remind all those listening that we too in the 9th District have a farmer's market every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. After you shop there, then you can go over to Wendy Gruel's. And tomorrow is Garafuna Day, and we will have the 3rd annual Garafuna Festival at 41st through 43rd in Avalon in the 9th Council District. These are people who originated in Africa and then through the diaspora in 1797 came to Central America, and it is a most interesting blend of cultures. Please come by and enjoy it.
Mr. Reyes.
Yes, I just wanted to share with my colleague, Councilmember Han, that I did have the opportunity to visit your district yesterday. Went through there and ended up at the Marymount University. And they had a great session with the KPCC discussing the impacts of Latino populations in politics. Beautiful district, and hopefully we'll get there tomorrow. All right.
Mr. Weiss, announcements? Mr. Zine.
Yes, I want to remind our viewers and colleagues that this is the Baker to Vegas run, 120-mile run through the desert from Baker, California to Las Vegas. And I will be participating in that run from Baker to Las Vegas with many of my friends in law enforcement. There's about, I'll be running in my car, but I'll be running. There's about 10,000 officers from across the country, as well as Canada, that participate. And I know Councilmember Parks has been there for many of the years when we've seen them at the starting point, at the conclusion. And our Metro Division has won, the Highway Patrol has won, the event is spectacular. So if you happen to be in Baker, California or Las Vegas this weekend and you see thousands of officers there, it's the annual Baker to Vegas run. Thank you, Mr. President.
A lot of activities going on for the community to participate in this weekend. And rain is expected on Sunday, so please drive carefully when you're on the road. They changed the forecast? After midnight, she said. Members, are they adjourning motions today? Please stand for adjourning motions. Mr. Parks.
I have an adjourning motion in honor of Mary Jane Oglesby, who passed away at the age of 72 on April the 3rd. She's the wife of Dr. Lloyd John Oglesby, who is the board member of the LA Metropolitan YMCA. She was married for over 52 years, and she played a vital role in his ministry when he was the chaplain of the United States Senate in Washington for approximately 10 years. She was an active leader in volunteer community work and social activities, and was on the Costume Council for the LA County Museum of Arts, as well as the LA chapter of the Junior Philharmonic Committee of the Music Center. In Washington, D.C., she was active participant in the International Neighborhood Club, which was made up of spouses and members of Congress, diplomats, and community leaders. Music was a major interest in her life, and she was an accomplished pianist and organist, sang in the church choir and choral groups. Her celebration will be, it's been past noon on it's coming up April 12th at noon at the First Presbyterian Church of Hollywood. She leaves her husband and several other relatives.
Mr. Reyes.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to adjourn in the memory of Adelaide Llanos. She was born on April 8, 1921 in Santa Barbara, California. At the age of 17, she married Arthur Martinez in Lincoln Heights. At the end of World War II, they bought a home in Elysian Valley and raised 5 children until they outgrew their home. Because of the family's successful accounting business, they were able to build a spacious home in the hills of Highland Park. Ida, as she was known, was the backbone of the family and instilled moral, spiritual, educational, social values in her 7 children. Ida took great pride in her Chumash Indian heritage, where her ancestors provided the first recorded marriage in the state and passed that love on to her family. Besides tirelessly volunteering with the Catholic evangelistic ministries for over the 10 years, she focused most of her efforts on her children, 20 grandchildren, and 24 great-grandchildren. Our thoughts are with them.
Other tributes? Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Thank you all very much. This meeting is adjourned.
You are watching LA City View, Channel 35. Your city, your channel.
We now join our scheduled program in progress.